So you're looking at buying a new construction home here in the Boise, Treasure Valley area. We're gonna be covering everything you need to know about the cons of buying a new construction home before you buy one so you can make the best decision for yourself. We're getting after that right now. Hey everyone, so you are looking at buying a new construction home, so we are going to be going over exactly what you need to know before you buy that home for some of the things that you're not going to get with that home and that you might get caught unawares and surprised by before you actually buy that home. So we're going to be getting after that right now, but before we do, my name is Curtis Chism with the Chism team, and my team and I specialize in helping people relocate here to the Boise area. We get calls and texts all the time from people just like you looking to move to beautiful Idaho. I myself relocated from San Diego, California, and I love helping people discover Idaho and make the move here as well. So if that's something that you're looking to do, please reach out to me and my team via phone, text, or email. We'll jump on a call, we'll figure out what your lifestyle is and the best place for you to live, whether that happens to be in a new construction home or maybe in a resale home that might be a better fit for you. So let's get after all the cons of living and buying in a new construction community. We're getting after that right now. Let's get into all the pros and cons of new construction here in the Treasure Valley area. So of course, first off, you've got Boise. Everyone thinks Boise when they're moving here, but frankly, a lot of people don't actually move to the city of Boise itself. Of course, Boise is the capital, the largest city here in Idaho, but a lot of people, especially when they're looking at new builds, are actually moving to the suburbs of Boise. So these are all individual cities surrounding Boise, such as Eagle, Star, Middleton, Caldwell, Nampa, Meridian, and Kuna. Those are the big areas that people are moving to, and that's where most of the new construction actually is, especially in a little bit in Eagle, but Star, Middleton, Nampa, Caldwell, and Kuna. Those are blowing up with new construction. Meridian's kind of built out, but you can still get it, and I'm talking brand new construction where you're buying from the builder. Now, there's a lot of homes you can get that are for resale that are only a couple years old because people have to move and relocate for various reasons. So you can still find fairly new construction that isn't exactly brand new build off the builder. And there's actually some benefits to going after that versus doing new construction. So we're gonna dive into all those things right now. So let's get after some of the cons first, then we'll hit some of the pros, and then we'll hit some of those things right in the middle that could go either way depending on the situation. So the first one up is when you're buying new construction just right from a builder, they may or may not include landscaping and fencing in the contract. Now, oftentimes they are going to provide landscaping out front. They want the community to look beautiful. They want it to be consistent with the whole neighborhood. That's why they have the HOA. But they may not do landscaping in the back. Most likely they won't unless you're getting a fully customized home, or the builder allows you to do some upgrades along the way, such as landscaping. So if they don't provide fencing, the HOA is certainly going to require it. So that's going to be an extra cost that you're going to have to come up with. And sometimes the lower end builders won't provide that out of the gate, pun intended, but sometimes they will. Make sure you're looking out if they got fencing included. Do they have any landscaping? Most likely the backyard will not be landscaped. It will just be a scraped dirt lot in the back. And that leads into the next point, which is the land here is very, very hard. The soil here is very hard because these homes are getting built in farmland. So what they've done is they've gone and scraped that good top soil off because they need to get down to good soil so they can build the good foundation for the home so your house doesn't settle. But unfortunately, that strips all the nutrients out, all the bugs, all the good probiotics and bacteria that's in the soil, and it's just rock hard. So what happens is if you go and try to plant grass right on top of that, it's gonna die. You're gonna have all these brown spots is gonna be splotchy, and your grass is just gonna die. So unfortunately, you have to typically over excavate your soil and then bring in new soil on top for a top soil so that your plants and grass can actually latch on and have the nutrients they need to grow and thrive and survive and to have a beautiful backyard. So that's an added expense just between landscaping, depending on what you want to do, and then having to excavate and add in new topsoil. And because it's so hard, you also are gonna have the tendency for water to kind of just run off your property. Maybe if it's not sloped properly, which it should be away from your home, it can go into your home, into your crawl space. So you gotta make sure that it's sloped away properly when you're doing your home inspection. But because you can have all this running water on top of your landscaping, it can then have a tendency to pool. And so that's the other thing you got to look out for, and most likely either the builder have them do it or you got to do it after the fact, is install a French drain. So a French drain is essentially a hole that's drilled or dug down through that hard top layer into the sand layer beneath that, and then that's filled up with coarse gravel, like 3/4 inch aggregate, and then a little area drain on top. And that allows the water to hit that drain, filter down through the gravel, and then hit the sand layer and escape from your property. So that's how you have to handle the hard topsoil on these new builds. So those are all things that you just may not be aware of when you're buying a new build. You know, you're looking at these model homes and they're all perfectly landscaped and beautiful, and then you actually have to come out of pocket for all this stuff, and this stuff you just may not have been aware of. The other thing too is some of these builds, especially again in the more tract home type builds, they're just gonna drop in a little 10 by 10 concrete patio for you. So you're gonna have a little 10 foot by 10 foot pad. When you walk out your patio, that's it, that's all you got, and you got your dirt lot. So I don't know about you, but I like to have much more concrete. You know, when you're entertaining, then you wanna have nice concrete surface for people to walk around on, put your chairs, you know, your fire pit, all that kind of stuff. I got a solo stove I like to put outside, and I just like to have it on a nice concrete surface. That's usually an added expense too. If you want to add a lot of concrete, that's going to cost you tens of thousands of dollars depending on how much concrete you want to actually put in. So that's kind of a little bit of a bummer that you got to look out for when buying new construction. And before we leave the exterior completely, let's talk about water. So real quick, you're going to have an HOA and a new construction, and you want to try to find out if that new build or the HOA includes water in your HOA fees. Now, it's not going to include your interior water, you know, your faucets, your drinking water, all that kind of stuff, showers, but oftentimes it can include exterior water for landscaping because they want you to keep your exterior beautiful. So you want to try to make sure that you've got that included. If they don't, that's a big con because it can get expensive. You can certainly spend hundreds of dollars a month keeping everything watered. But because they want the front landscape, sometimes even if they don't include complete exterior water, they will include front water. So they'll actually have water that's on a meter for the HOA just for the front, not for the back. So a trick that I've heard some people do is they'll just buy a long hose, like a 150-foot hose, tap into the water in the front. They got you got spigots out there, and run that to the back. Boom, now you've got your backyard watering covered by the HOA. Now let's head inside a little bit and take a look at a few things that you may not be aware of that are not going to be included. That's typically going to be your appliances. So you'll have a range, of course, but you won't have a refrigerator and you won't have a washer and dryer. So those are added expenses if you don't already have them that you're going to have to pick up. You know, that's not necessarily terrible. It gives you an opportunity to buy a brand new one and everything's nice and brand new, then you get to select exactly what you want. But, you know, a lot of resale homes, oftentimes that's included. So, you know, if you're looking, it's just another extra expense that you may not have been looking for. The other thing interior-wise is blinds. So you're gonna have no interior blinds typically. Now, again, on these custom homes, you can add that in. But your typical tract homes, spec homes, even semi-custom homes, you're typically going to have to buy your own blinds. So again, you get to select what you want, but be prepared to shell out $1,500 to $5,000 depending on the level of blind quality that you're looking for. Another kind of odd thing that I've noticed in a lot of the kind of lower end builders versus the custom home is they have these vents that are installed in between the hallway and the bedroom. So what that is, it's above the doorway, and what it is it's actually a return air vent for the air conditioning and heating system. So instead of installing a return air vent in every single room, it's basically like a lazy man's way or a cheap way of installing a return air system. So heating and air conditioning needs supply air and it needs return air in order to function properly. So what you often see is a return air in the main living areas and the master bedroom, but you won't see it in the other bedrooms and the laundry room. So you have this hole with a vent that's just a pass through. And what it is that's allowing the system to balance, and they don't have to install ductwork specifically for each room with a return air. So it's a much cheaper way, but obviously now you've got this kind of unsightly vent, but more importantly, it allows sound, much more sound, to pass through the walls. So, if you're like me and I've got kids and they got to take naps and, you just have a lot more sound that's traveling through the house. And if you go ahead and block them up, it messes up the balance of the system and you're gonna have inconsistent heating and cooling. So a room might be colder or hotter than the rest of the home, depending on the time of year and how that system is functioning. Now, overall, what you're gonna find too in these homes is that, especially if you're buying from a home builder like CBH, Hubble Home, or Hayden, you're really not gonna have a whole lot of opportunities to upgrade the home. Now, you might, especially if the home has not been built yet. So it's a future build home or a to-be built home, or as they call it, a pre-sold home, meaning they haven't built it yet, but they call it a pre-sold home. You can have more opportunities to upgrade your home. So selecting countertops, selecting carpets and flooring, that kind of thing, maybe doing your landscaping. But generally speaking, you're not gonna have a lot of upgrade options. So you're kind of stuck with what they're gonna give you. And that can be okay, but you can't upgrade. And now I will say, if they do allow you to upgrade, it gets really costly. So a friend of mine, he just bought a Hubble home. His first one was a spec house, no upgrades allowed at all. His second one was a pre-sold home. He kept his first one, he's renting it out. He loves the Hubble homes. And he did a lot of upgrades, but that caused a lot more expense and a lot more delays in order to get all those upgrades done. And what you're gonna get in a lot of these homes is pretty basic as far as the type of building materials. And I'm gonna dive into that a little bit more when I get into the CBH and Hubble homes, so we can dive in a little bit more about that, because people wanna know, why are those so cheap? And I'm gonna cover that coming up here in just a minute. So stay tuned for that, and we're gonna cover exactly why that is. And there's some really good reasons why they're cheap, and it's obvious once you see it. Now, the last thing to keep in mind is not really a con per se, it's just something you need to be aware of, is that these homes, because they're brand new, they do off gas, especially inside. They've been closed up and they've got materials in there like the carpet, the paint, the LVP flooring, any sort of glues that might be in the Formica countertops or the carpets. Those are gonna off gas. And so those are the VOCs that are escaping. It's normal, but the house might smell, plus it's just exposing yourself to more chemicals. So, because these homes have been closed up for a while, what you wanna do is open the house up, open all the windows, put some fans in there and air it out for a day or two. You can even run some diffusers with like eucalyptus and lemon. That's gonna help to absorb that and dissipate that. So just keep that in mind, that these homes do off gas. That's normal, and just open it up and you'll be good. Now, these last couple cons are more about the contract than they are about the actual home. So the first thing you need to know is that most likely, if the home does not appraise at the purchase price, then the way that these contracts are typically written are that you have to come out of pocket for the difference. You're not using the standard Idaho real estate offer contract, you're using the builder's contract. So we can negotiate that stuff up front and try to clarify it, but sometimes that can happen. Now, right now, or the way the market is with balancing out, that's really not an issue, but that was kind of more of an issue before, when the market was rapidly appreciating. But anyway, you just got to be aware of that potentially you could be on the hook for the difference in the appraised value and the purchase price. But right now, the balancing market is not such a big deal, but you need to watch out for that. The other thing too is it's difficult to pull out of these contracts. So they will require an earnest money deposit. So that's like an initial deposit to secure the home. And oftentimes it can actually not be a whole lot of money. Like when I bought my home from Hubble, it was only $2,000. Now, however, if you want to pull out, what they get you for is liquidated damages. So liquidated damages has nothing to do with water or water damage. It is just a contract term that's called liquidated damages. That is basically saying, for you harming the other party by pulling out, you're required to pay them damages, a fee, in order to pull out on top of your earnest money deposit. So you're gonna lose your earnest money deposit most likely, because these contracts are written in such a way you don't have financing contingency. Now, with the changing market, this could change as well, but this is how it's been for a while here in Idaho. And so you're gonna lose your earnest money deposit, which could be a few $1,000s, and then they're gonna hit you for liquidated damages. And that could vary, but for instance, the Hubble contract is written with a $5,000 liquidated damages. So you might be in for $2,000 to $5,000 earnest money deposit and then get hit with liquidated damage on top of that at $5,000 if you decide to pull out for whatever reason, because you couldn't get your loan, you didn't appraise and you don't want to pay the difference, or you decided you don't want that home anymore and you want to go buy another home, then they can come after you for that. Now, it does go to arbitration. It's a whole process and thing, but potentially you could lose $7,000 to $10,000 because of the way that these contracts are written. And the other thing to keep in mind is that the builder is going to try to get you to work directly with them because it saves them money, because they don't have to pay us to help represent you to buy that house. And the thing is things come up that you want someone in your corner to help navigate the process for you, handle the contracts, handle the negotiations, handle the appraisals, handle the inspections, handle all the emotions that come along with buying a home. Do you really want to be working directly with a seller to do that? And they're only looking out for themselves. That's what's happening here. So you're not saving any money by working with a builder. They're saving the money and they're probably screwing you on the back end and you just don't know it because they're looking out for themselves. So that's the thing. We work with people all the time that are relocating to the Treasure Valley and we absolutely love it. And we need to talk to you so that we can figure out what your lifestyle is. Where do you want to live? Do you want to live out in the country, out in Middleton or in Star? Or do you want to live in right next to the Greenbelt in Eagle so you can get easy access to the river? Or maybe in Meridian, same thing, easy access to the river, more central, more built out. Or you're looking for that slower pace of life in the country in, say, Nampa, and you're okay with driving a little bit further, and just depending on what you're looking for. So you got to reach out to us so that we can have that conversation with you, so we can help you move here. We absolutely love helping people relocate to Treasure Valley, just like I myself moved from California, and I absolutely love living in beautiful, free Idaho. So reach out to us if you're looking to buy a new construction home and you want to work with someone that has gone through the process. Myself, my team goes through this process every single day, helping people buy and sell here in the Treasure Valley. And we'll see you on the next video.